So, Like a Dragon has been out for 8 months now, and it already has some of the best characters in the Yakuza series so far. You have Adachi, a former police officer determined to expose the corruption of his former police chief, who's also a huge perv and bad with his money. Zhao, leader of the Lu Mang, who behind a cold exterior harbors a man who very much cares about his men and the people around him. Joe Sawashiro, an S-tier character, someone who's despicable in his own right but upholds a truly resilient honor code. All great characters by all means, but not one of them has been more important to the series, in my opinion, than Saeko Mukoda, and it's only for the reason that she's just a regular person. Now I know that sounds a little weird, like what constitutes a regular person? Well, for a series like Yakuza, I would say anyone who's not part of or associated with an immediate criminal organization. Emphasis on associated. Splice anyone from the main cast of Like a Dragon or side characters of past games, and they're usually tied in some way to the Yakuza, police, or another crime syndicate. Which obviously makes sense, and to be fair, a lot of these characters are regular people who are just blackmailed into the criminal underworld. But this is where Saeko stands out. Of course, Saeko has actual stakes in the plot than just being a random character they found off the street. We learn that she's been keeping a close eye on her sister Nanaha from afar, but while Nanaha is snookered into dealings with the Seiryu clan, Saeko herself is divorced from anything to do with the Yakuza. After the apparent suicide of Nonomiya, Saeko joins Ichiban and friends to find out the real cause behind his demise, as she owes a great deal to him. And her arc ends pretty early on once we learn the truth behind Nonomiya's death. After that, Saeko's just kind of there because she wants to, and that's the beauty of her character. Normally in storytelling, you want to try to avoid closing a character's arc prematurely, as you run the risk of characters taking up space for a large remainder of the story. In fact, that's something I give Nanba's character arc a lot of shit for, but that's only because he's being played by a famous Japanese screen actor. So maybe it's just my bias, but I find it really refreshing that after chapter 7, Saeko's role in the main party is that she just genuinely enjoys the company of the guys, and it's ultimately her choice to continue helping Ichiban uncover a national Yakuza conspiracy. Speaking of Ichiban, that actually brings me to my next point. As much as this is a Saeko video, she wouldn't have been able to exist if it wasn't for the main man himself, as it would have been impossible to fit her into a Kiryu-like game. To put it simply, the space that Kiryu occupied, you know, as the Dragon of Dojima, former 4th chairman, #1 world's best dad, that space could only allow for characters who are either Yakuza or children, and nothing in between. So by bringing Ichiban down to a civilian level, an actual civilian mind you, not one with street cred out the gate, it opens the door for the kind of characters Yakuza is able to introduce. And Saeko's at the forefront of this. We can have barmaids, we can have a janitor, we can have whatever character is possible that can share the limelight for longer than 5 minutes. Nothing is off the table, and it's all thanks to Ichiban. Which, I do want to take a moment and explore this aspect of him and offer some predictions if I may. I think as Ichiban becomes a lot stronger and more reputable as the new dragon, so will his allies, and characters like Saeko will be phased out in order to make room for them. To be honest, I don't even think Nanba, Adachi, or even Saeko would be party members in future Yakuza titles either, and I'm okay with that. As much as I love these characters, their arcs concluded, and I'm fine seeing them as supporting cast around the city of Yokohama. I noticed on my playthrough of Like a Dragon that there was a narrative reasoning for everything, and I mean everything. The way Ichiban fights the way he does, the job system, the summons, so I don't see changing Ichiban's allies being any different. Of course, these are just predictions and predictions are not gospel. It's just a fun little thing to do, and Yakuza is a series that has always been able to surprise me. For now, let's just appreciate Saeko for the badass lady she is. She's beautiful, she's intelligent, she kicks ass, and the banter she has with the gang makes for some of the cutest moments ever. Saeko's the shit, and I think RGG Studios hit a real home run with her. If you came into this video thinking I'd do an in-depth analysis on her character, fighting style, or just the fact that we finally have a better represented female character in Yakuza, I'm sorry. I just wanted to find an excuse to gush about my favorite character and the significance she has to a series like Yakuza. Honestly, I can't wait to see what RGG Studios has in store for her next. If we do end up getting more regular people as characters, let it be known now that it was Saeko Mukoda that paved the way for them, with the help of Ichiban. But I think she just take all the credit.